Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing well today. It's a double upload day. It is, because later on we have got the preview for the final day. Make sure you guys are all going to be here for that. We're going to go over Chelsea versus Bournemouth, as well as how the title is going to be wrapped up with Manchester City's game and Arsenal's game and what we expect to happen there. On top of that, the third topic taking place tomorrow on the final day is Klopp's farewell. That farewell tour has its grand finale and main event with no trophies except the Carabao Cup that we gave them. But it's going to be a massive goodbye at Anfield. So all of that in the preview coming up later on tonight. So make sure you're there for that. Let's get cracking with the news though, because things have already kicked off and we got a big piece of news that occurred in the very, very early hours, right? Let's get right into it. ESTEVAO Willian. Chelsea missed out on Endrick. So Chelsea thought, FOMO, let's go and get the next one. Who's next? We missed that bus. Cool, let's wait for the next bus. Which bus is showing up? Oh, it's the ESTEVAO bus. Let's get into it. Chelsea have reached an agreement with Palmeiras to buy ESTEVAO Willian for £55.7 million. This has come from CL Merlo, Cesar Luis Merlo, who has tweeted this, and if we get the translation out, because we have to, ESTEVAO Willian reached an agreement to play for Chelsea. The English club sent its last offer of €65 million guaranteed and without objectives, which was accepted by Palmeiras. It will be the most expensive sale in the history of America to Europe. It will be added in mid-2025. So, it's done. It's looking like ESTEVAO Willian will be heading over to Chelsea in 2025. Now, it's not going to be €65 million up front, apparently. All right. I've read that it's going to be around 30 million or so, with the rest as add-ons later. So I don't think, like it's been mentioned, it doesn't seem like it's going to be objective-based, as in add-ons, if this or that. I just think it's payment structure. He did have a release clause. I think Chelsea went above the release clause just to get the payment structure sorted. So it means that they can pay less now and pay a little bit more later, which is what it seems like Chelsea have done. So 30 million for now. The rest will be paid later. ESTEVAO Willian will be heading over to Chelsea. Now, there's one detail here, because ESTEVAO Willian, look, am I still unsure on ESTEVAO Willian? Absolutely. But there's one detail that has brought a little bit of relief or composure to this situation now. Something that's made me go, oh, okay, I can add a bit more trust to this now. Why? Because of one man. One man is behind this whole saga with ESTEVAO Willian, and this has been confirmed, and I'll get into the detail now. Here it is. Joe Shields, heavily involved in the ESTEVAO deal. It's down to Joe Shields. And not just Joe Shields and Allison Marins. Now, who's Allison Marins? Joe Shields is the one that's driven this, and he's the one that's wanted this player. As far as I'm concerned, Joe Shields' track record, both before Chelsea, when he was at Man City, etc., and at Chelsea, we've seen Cole Palmer, look what's happened. Lavia has been unfortunate. We'll see what happens when he comes from injury. But like I've said, the track record speaks for itself. And if the track record is going to be adhered to, Lavia should be a very good player when he gets a lot of game time. If he's wanting ESTEVAO Willian, I have to say the one guy within that hierarchy that I can look at and go, I've got a bit of peace with you, is Joe Shields. He wants ESTEVAO Willian. All right, I'm a bit more on board because I trust Joe Shields. And if he's happy, I'm happy, just like we used to say for Petr Cech back in the day. If Petr Cech's happy, I'm happy. So Joe Shields is the one behind this deal. Cool. That's brought a little bit more relief and calmness. Allison Marins. Who's Allison Marins? I'll be honest, I've not heard about Allison Marins up until today. Allison Marins used to be scout and then chief scout at Corinthians. Chelsea brought Allison Marins in 2023, so last year, to be Chelsea scout for the South American section. Obviously, scouts are placed for multiple regions. You'll get a scout that's focusing on Africa, a scout focusing on Northern Europe, Southern Europe, Asia, South America, North America. That's how it works, right? We have many scouts, I'm sure, like every other club. But Allison Marin's is South American Chelsea scout. And alongside Joe Shields, they have identified ESTEVAO Willian. As I said, my initial fear was that we were just doing this because we've missed out on Hendrick, so screw it. We got to get someone. We don't want fear of missing out. It's a FOMO, and I don't like FOMO. I think FOMO can be one of the worst things you can possibly do, right? Which is why all the doubt came into this just because of that 1 point alone on my end, my feeling. But Joe Shields being behind this, for me, in terms of identifying young talent and his track record, clearly Joe Shields has a brain. And he's come from somewhere that's top tier as well. We know his work at City alongside his work at Southampton too. So I have a little bit more trust in this now, just because Joe Shields. Allison Marin's as well, chief scout of Corinthians, who's now working at Chelsea. I'd like to think that picking out South American talent, Allison Marin's is probably one of the best that you can get. Corinthians are, when you're looking at South American football as a whole, you know, Corinthians is Corinthians. So ESTEVAO Willian heading to Chelsea. Let me know your thoughts. Although he will be joining up, not next season, but from the season after, obviously after he turns 18. He has just recently been called up to the under-20 Brazil squad as well, which is a relief, I have to say, because he was only playing under-17 football, and now he's going to be playing under-20 football. Happy days. And I'm looking for him to be called up to the senior team at some point, just like we've seen with Hendrick, and hopefully he can have good momentum and some good moments before he comes to Chelsea. So, let's see what happens. Let me know your thoughts on ESTEVAO Willian. Now, Pochettino spoke and said some things. I don't know what it is about Poch as of late, but he's saying all the right things. And alongside that, it seems like he's doing all the right things now. So, again, it's relief. Let's get into it. Here's what he said, and this is going to hit home for all of you, because it hit home for me. And I've been critical this season. So if it's hitting home for me, it's definitely going to hit home for you. Here it is. Pochettino saying, "We were talking as a staff. It's not enough for us. We're not going to celebrate and take a picture finishing fifth or sixth and Europe. It's not enough for the club, owners, sporting directors, or the players." This is like music. Finally, man. Finally, we're getting some, I don't just want swagger just for the sake of swagger, but swagger that's actually being backed up, you know? We are collecting results now. We are showing some more personality. And now it looks like we're actually showing standards. Standards. Yes. Pochettino showing standards. Flipping finally. Finally. I'm relieved. This is the sort of thing that I've wanted him to be consistently hitting no matter what. It's incredible. It's incredible. The way, I have to be honest with you guys, because you know me, I like to be fair. Whether I'm being critical or whether I'm giving praise, I want to be as fair as possible, right? From the way that I see it, my lens. I did not see this end of season coming. I'm relieved and I'm glad that it's happening. And now on top of that, like I've mentioned, Pochettino is holding all the cards and he's got leverage going into this end of season review. And now we're also hearing the right things from him. I'm relieved. I'm just relieved. Because going through the last year, 2 years, it's been tiring. It's been tiring. Very tiring. I don't want to shy away from my true feeling and what I really feel on the situation, which is what I've done. So the fact that now we are getting momentum, and I hope consistency, it's nice to hear this because this goes in line with exactly what I'm demanding next season. We've been through what we've been through, and some people will make the excuses, their injuries and all of this. Okay, cool. Okay, let's put it all into one basket. Fair enough. Let's include it. But if we're including all of this, you best believe next season, I am not accepting anything less than top 4. Simple as that. And it goes in line with exactly what Poch is saying here, We don't celebrate 5th or 6th or get in a European spot. Nah, that should be the minimum. Fair play. Absolutely fair play. So if he's seeing it that way, and if we're playing well, and the team are behind him, and he's implementing what needs to be implemented, and he's going to be getting consistency, which is only what we're going to find out from tomorrow and into next season, then fair play. We've got something to run with here. Fair play. So, credit for actually saying what we all want to hear, and hopefully we will all get to see going into next season. Because at the end of the day, we also have to be real. Actions speak louder than words. And right now, based on where we have been and what we've done, what we've seen as of late is the maximum we can ask for. Let's be real. You can't ask for more than what we've seen in the last 4 or 5 games. You can't. So now it's about consistency. Now it's about, can we hold that? Let's see what happens tomorrow against Bournemouth. And then let's see what happens next season. So let me know your thoughts on Potter's words below. Let's move before we wrap up. Thiago Silva. Check this out. Thiago Silva will say goodbye to Chelsea fans this weekend as he's joining Fluminense in June, but he's really planning to return to Chelsea one day in a different role. He loves the club, the city, and his plan is already something concrete in his mind. Thiago Silva, good luck to him at Fluminense as he wraps up his career, I'm sure, over there. He was filmed by his missus, Belle, on socials, and he had a tactical board up, a tactical setup, whiteboard, books, iPads, notepads, the whole shebang, right? He is clearly into his coaching. And he's clearly wanting to get into management. And I think before that, he's going to take his time because he's got all the time in the world. I think he's going to want to be in the coaching setup going forward at some point. I suspect that. And I think that would be fantastic for him. And I would very much want him at Chelsea for that. 100%. There are some players that you look at and you just think he has all the tools in order to become a top manager in the future. Thiago Silva, for me, I reckon has that. Especially when you look at the profile of managers that he's played under. He takes his craft seriously. He is a leader. And you can see the work that he's putting in right now in order to get his badges and get the work done and get himself up there and up and running as a coach. Another one who I have to be real, when you're looking at the new gen managers, Cesc Fabregas is another one I'm keeping an eye on. Why? Because for me, I think he's in a similar blueprint as Xabi Alonso. When you look at Xabi Alonso and you look at what he's doing at Bayer Leverkusen, it's ridiculous. But on top of that, the expertise that he picked up as a player, look at the managers he played for. Ancelotti, Mourinho, Pep, Benitez. That's mad. Fabregas is of the same mould. Thiago Silva is of the same mould. Fabregas, Arsene Wenger, Mourinho, Pep. Am I missing someone else? Fabregas. No, I think that's about it. But it screams volumes. Thiago Silva, same bracket, and if he's taking everything seriously, I do expect him to come back to Chelsea as a coach. It's funny that he's doing all this for Chelsea. He's not doing all this for PSG or anyone else. So he clearly has a big love for Chelsea, London, being a Blue, and I hope he comes back for sure as part of a coaching setup in the future. So fingers crossed we get to see that at some point. Let me know your thoughts down below. Aston Villa are interested in signing Chelsea midfielder Conor Gallagher, with midfielder possibly forming part of make-weight deal for John Duran. There is understood to be a good relationship at board level between both clubs. On top of this, it says Gallagher has not ruled out staying at Stamford Bridge and is unlikely to be pushed into any move he is unsure about. Listen, I'm going to clarify this as quickly as I can. John Duran will not make any weight for a Conor Gallagher deal. Why? Because Conor Gallagher, if he does leave, is leaving for pure profit. Chelsea will not risk jeopardising that on the books by adding someone of any sort of value as part of that deal. Not happening. If anything, it would be more beneficial for Chelsea to do the two deals completely separately. Because if they interfere with Conor Gallagher and his book value, then what's the point? On top of that, look, if Poch is staying, I don't think Gallagher's going anywhere. I think that's the one sticking point that's going to tell us whether the club really back Pochettino and his vision, or they just want to use him, right? Because clearly Poch wants to keep Gallagher. And clearly Gallagher wants to stay under Poch, right? And if Poch is staying, then we don't get rid of Gallagher. We just don't. But the club, are they going to miss out on such a pure profit opportunity? Big crossroads that we're going to find out this summer. And I will be here to give you my thoughts as we go through it. So make sure you are. And before we wrap up, a couple of other things. Here's the latest. Bernardo To Villa leaves Brentford to join Chelsea as the new set-piece coach. Chelsea will pay £750,000 in compensation. So he's on his way to Chelsea. Brentford have announced his departure today. So that's that. Welcome to Chelsea. And look, hopefully things can tighten up in defence and attack when we are either defending or attacking a set piece, because we've been poor there for sure this season. We've been poor, and not just in terms of height. It's not just height. You know, you could get flipping, I don't know, 8 Shaquille O'Neals and we'd still probably defend badly and we'd still probably attack badly when it comes to set pieces and all of that. We need good placement, good strategy, a good system in place that's going to enable good marking, good tracking, good movement and good positioning, which is something that we've just not done good enough this season throughout. So it's as simple as that. Hopefully he can have an effect. Let me know your thoughts on that. This is the last piece of news that's come out literally minutes before this. So here it is. Player of the Year. We found out Cole Palmer was Young Player of the Year. Well, this guy is Player of the Year. Premier League. Here it is. Phil Foden has been voted 23-24 Premier League Player of the Season. The 23-year-old has 17 league goals and 8 assists. Richly deserved. Congrats to Phil Foden. One of the best, for sure. But again, there's a clue as to where I'm going with this in that sentence. One of the best. The best? I'm sorry, I wouldn't have given it to Phil Foden. You can argue Phil Foden top 3, 100%. Best? I think it's because he plays for City. I think if KDB was fit throughout the season, I think KDB would have run with it. And I think Haaland would have scored more. But Phil Foden, I think because City are playing the way that they're playing and they're about to win the title, it looks like, unless they don't, but it looks like they will. I think that's why Phil Foden's getting rewarded with the numbers that he has racked up, and fair play. But I think there's 2 players here that in the circumstances they have been in deserve it more. We saw Cole Palmer get Young Player of the Year. I think possibly the role should have been switched. Phil Foden maybe Young Player of the Year, Foden and Cole Palmer Player of the Year. But there's another name here. If Cole Palmer's going to be Young Player of the Year, cool. I'll take that, right? Because he deserves that too. I'll take that. Who should be Player of the Year? I got to be honest. And Aston Villa fans will be happy to hear this one. I think Ollie Watkins should have been Player of the Year. Ollie Watkins is up there in terms of goals, better goals than Phil Foden. Better assists than Phil Foden, has allowed Aston Villa and taken them to a place that no one expected them to. Champions League spot, has been flawless this season and hasn't done it just on his own, but he's been a big portion of the reason why Aston Villa got to where they're finishing now. Phil Foden has been great amongst many others, and this is Player of the Year. I have to say, like I said, Phil Foden, up there for sure, but not the best. I think that should have gone to Ollie Watkins. You could make a case for Erling Haaland and the goals that he scored. Absolutely, he's up there too. I think in terms of Man City, Rodri is definitely up there. He's been flawless in terms of his role. And I do appreciate that maybe defensive players are underappreciated because they don't get goals and assists. But Ollie Watkins' contribution throughout the season has been ridiculous. I think he should have won it. But let me know your thoughts. Much appreciated. And I will see all of you later on tonight for the preview to the final day, including Chelsea versus Bournemouth. So make sure you're here for that. Much appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching. Do not forget, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Hit the bell to be notified once I have uploaded. Check out the socials on screen and in the description. And I will see all of you later on tonight for video number 2 and the preview to the final day, the final preview of the season. I'll see you then. Have a good one, people. See you later then. Take care and peace.